This is Renelle, and welcome to Quality Hang with Rod Brooks and friends. And here he is now, your host, my main man, Rod Brooks.
Thank you very much, Renelle. Indeed, it is another edition of your favorite broadcast, Quality Hang. I am Rod Brooks, and as always, I'm joined on this broadcasting adventure by my partner in crime, my man, my friend, Marcus Osborne. What's up, brother? How you doing?
What's happening, man?
Yeah, man.
So now that I got a clear picture of myself and my camera's clear, I might be time for a nose job. I didn't realize how big my shit was.
Yeah. I really hate that cleaning your camera has sent you into an existential crisis about about your nose. I'm so sorry.
Good thing it's not a plate of cocaine in front of me.
No, man, don't do it to yourself. Don't judge yourself so harshly. You're good, my brother. You're good.
It's shiny. Am I Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? This is
hey, listen, I have fully embraced my television career. Ain't nothing wrong with a little Mac Studio fix. Okay, I will send you the hue that I use, and if you want to get rid of that shine, I got exactly what you need.
I should have put some on earlier. I got a little something. I always stay strapped, as the kids say, just in case I got to do a TV hit.
There you go. Absolutely. As always, the show is brought to you by the fine folks at Hop Monk Taverns. There are 3 of those fine establishments run by good friend of the show, Dean Biersch. You got one in Sonoma, you have one in Sebastopol, and you have one in Novato. Make sure you drop by one of those 3 spots. Get yourself a great meal. So many great beers on tap, great atmosphere, and great live music at all 3 of the venues. Hop Monk Taverns. It is family friendly as well, so make sure you check them out if you happen to be around Sebastopol, Sonoma, or in Novato. Marcus, my brother,
yes, sir.
This edition of the show with your Golden State Warriors, taking care of my Houston Rockets in 7. I said Rockets in 7. You had Warriors in 6. Neither one of us were, completely and totally correct. But you had the Warriors winning this bad boy, and the Warriors we saw in games. So I make this point.
Yeah,
the Rockets we saw in Game 7 sure looked like the Rockets we saw early in the series, where they just could not make a shot to save their lives.
Yeah, honestly, I'll be. Excuse me. I'm actually surprised at. It's weird to say, but the ease at which the Warriors dispatched the Rockets, I don't think they were ill-prepared. I think this was sort of the veteran stuff coming out of the Warriors, because the discipline they played with, I haven't seen them play that tight at all. Even in the games they won, These guys were tight. They had their stuff together from the moment the ball went up in the air. And I was stunned by this, because I actually thought this was going to come down to the wire. And I thought the Warriors would pull it out with like something in the last minute or so. But no, they never were behind. There was never a real threat. And I think that it's a testament to, the coaching of Steve Kerr.
Oh, he can't coach.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a trip, dude. I saw his record. I guess he's never lost a first round series. That's insane.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah,
never lost a first round series. And his Game 7s are a pretty good record there too. So that, along with Buddy Hield turning into Steph Curry for a night.
Yeah, Buddy Hield, obviously his 33 points, that was a big story of the game. But I want to go back to something you just mentioned about the Warriors just being sharper, being more focused, it seems like, paying more attention to detail. First things first, you notice that none of the goofy stuff went down in this Game 7. Both teams were really on their best behavior because the stakes were so high. And if there's no goofiness for Draymond specifically to get involved with, then he and the rest of them can focus on basketball. But there's a number, there's a stat that tells you everything you need to know about the Warriors' performance in Game 7 and why they were able to win that bad boy and now progressing to a series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Warriors turning the ball over in the games that they lost to the Rockets like they just had no idea how important it was to take care of the ball. And that's what the Rockets wanted to do. And they did that. They sped the Warriors up with their defense, got them to turn it over. And then the Rockets' athleticism, was just in full effect.
Yep.
Warriors only turned the ball over in Game 7 7 times.
Dude,
turnovers.
If they turn the ball over only 7 times against anybody, they're going to win most series.
Absolutely.
Because and you've been watching these guys as long as I have. They kick the ball around like they don't give up.
And it's their best players doing it too. Steph will do it. Draymond was horrible with turnovers of the balance of the series. But
Steph has been the leading turnover guy for the Warriors for like the last 4 or 5 years. Yes, I watch him play, and sometimes he makes the most boneheaded passes. I'm like, what exactly were you thinking when you threw that? I don't know if it's laziness, but there's like I see Draymond make goofy passes, but they're out of over aggression.
Yeah,
I see Steph make passes that are just silly and lazy, and just what were you thinking when you tried to make that pass?
I think for him, it's over aggression as well. And listen, Steph Curry has not become one of the greatest NBA players of all time without having a supreme belief that he can basically do anything on a basketball court. And that's been proven over and over and over again. But when it comes to the turnover situation, it proves that, again, he has supreme belief. But it also proves that he's human as well. But here's the thing about Game 7 that just really jumped out to me. And I'm a firm believer in this because it's been proven to be true over and over and over again. In the biggest moments, who you are as an individual and who you are collectively as a team, good or bad, will show when the lights are brightest. And there's nothing bigger in the NBA than a Game 7 in the playoffs. There's nothing bigger. Obviously, you will have bigger ones as you progress through into the NBA Finals, but Game 7's in the playoffs. That's as big as you could get in the NBA.
Yep.
And your flaws and your positives will all be highlighted just the same and will all be scrutinized. And we saw the Warriors tighten up with their, tighten up as far as handling the ball, tightening up with their rotations defensively, being very smart offensively, with knowing that the Rockets were going to continue to put a lot of pressure on Steph, and the Rockets were going to make the mistake of, hey, we'll leave these guys open because it's worked for them before. They left Podziemski open. It worked for them. It would leave Draymond open, obviously, even though he hit a couple of big threes early in Game 7 because it worked for him. They went to the well once too often, leaving Buddy Hield open, and he hurt them. But the Warriors having that opportunity, they made the most of it. And on the flip side, again, in a negative situation, who you are will come back to bite you as well. And the Rockets showed who they were. Not a very good shooting team, a team that does not finish well around the rim in the paint, and a team that when you push them, they will make young, boneheaded mistakes. And that's what the Rockets showed in that Game 7, again, when the lights were brightest. So I just think you saw the Warriors at their best, and unfortunately for the Rockets, they were at their worst in a most pivotal Game 7.
Yeah, I really liked some of the adjustments that were made. The game plan was still the same. The Warriors still wanted to get into the half court and play that way and kind of force the Rockets into a half court game. But you saw them make an adjustment to hound Van Vliet a lot more.
Yes.
He didn't have as much room, which is weird because I feel like y'all should have thought about this the last 2 games. What are we thinking? But he eventually got to it, and it's like, you know what? We should probably do this and lock this guy down. And that was really, really key because he was the guy who was going to be the MVP of the series if it had gone their way.
It damn sure wasn't going to be Jalen Green.
No. I feel bad for this kid.
I don't.
I feel bad for him, man. I don't know what you do with him. I don't know if it's something with him. I don't know if it's the offensive system. I don't know what it is, but you can't be disappearing like that at so many pivotal moments and call yourself the number one option on the team.
No. I mean, the Rockets as a group, they have to become, I shouldn't say much better because they don't need to be much better shooters.
No.
Just don't be terrible as a collective, and they are. But listen, Jalen Green, he's no James Harden, who we will get to shortly. But I want to mention something in terms of adjustments and Steve Kerr actually being a competent coach. Because, of course, we know that, with the exception of some dummies who like to say that he can't coach. Another smart thing that he did, that double big lineup was working the Warriors over.
Oh, was smoking them.
Hey, man, how big, even in a short amount of time, 11 minutes and change, how big, literally and figuratively, was Kevon Looney in those 10, 11 minutes?
Bro, I mean, you want to talk about a guy who, for whatever reason, you want to talk about someone who's reliable at the most pivotal moments. Kevon Looney, no matter what he's done, no matter how good or how bad he's been, you get that dude in a high leverage situation, and all of a sudden he is on point.
He is a stay ready all-star. He does not have to get ready. He is always ready. And he doesn't allow Kevon Looney, and he's been in the game for a long time. He's got championships. He knows this whole thing, but he doesn't allow his ego to take over in a negative way. It doesn't matter how long Kevon Looney sits out. It doesn't matter how many DNPs he has, or it doesn't matter if he doesn't get a lot of burn. He's always ready, and whatever he is tasked to do, whatever he is asked to do, he will do that without complaint. And in those 11 minutes, you're probably looking at the box score, his score line, and going, well, it's not that impressive. It goes beyond the box score, even though he did have 4 rebounds in those 11 minutes. And that's a lot of rebounds in 11 minutes. Yeah, don't think 4 rebounds. That's a lot of rebounds in 11 minutes,
especially high rate, bro.
when you deal especially when you're dealing with Steven Adams and a Rockets team that is one of the best rebounding teams on planet Earth right now. Steve Kerr trusting and needing Kevon Looney, and Kevon Looney showing that, hey, anytime you need me to go out there, even if it's a little bit or a lot, I'm ready. We're all going to talk about Buddy Hield. The Buddy Hield Game 7 is going to be talked about around the Bay Area for a long time. Obviously, Steph had a couple of big shots late, and Jimmy Butler being Jimmy Butler with his 20 points. But to me, the one guy that needs to be shouted out over and over and over again, because he is absolutely reliable, is Kevon Looney, and he showed that again last night.
Yeah, man, and I don't even think he's 30 years old yet, right?
He might be. I think he's a little bit. I think he's close to 30, if not a little bit over 30.
Right? So I don't even think he's 30 yet.
Yeah.
And that he might be close, but I don't think he's hit the 3-0 yet, which is insane because he's been with the team almost 10 years, which is crazy. But I love that dude because I understand why Steve Kerr loves him so much.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what the situation is. I know I can depend on that dude. He's got a job. He's the Warriors' Udonis Haslem.
That's a great call. That is an absolute great call.
As long as he wants a job, he's going to be there. As long as Steve Kerr is there, he will have a job. And I just love I'll tell you also, that game was Buddy Hield and Draymond Green. I think he got 16 points out of Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Literally the cleanest, best game, most dominant game Draymond Green has had in the entire series.
One turnover
and several stellar. Draymond Green might have the most defensive highlights I've seen from a player in decades. Like big defensive plays constantly from this kid. So I do appreciate that. And I've heard Dillon Brooks say he wanted to be Draymond Green for his team. I don't know if he still feels that way.
I mean, a lot of no-shows for the Rockets in Game 7. Dillon Brooks was a no-show, 8 points on 3 and 9 shooting, 2 rebounds in 35 minutes for Dillon Brooks.
Wow.
Talking loud and saying nothing. Amin Thompson, 24 points on 9 and 16 shooting. I got nothing bad to say about that young man, but he, along with other Rockets, has just got to get back. I don't need him to be a 3-point shooter. Yeah. Just with his athleticism, and I know the mid-range is a bad word in today's NBA, but with Thompson's athleticism, all he needs is a little bit of space. He could get a shot off.
Yeah.
but he has no confidence because that shot's not going to go. He doesn't believe it's going to go in because, well, it's not going to go in. If he gets anywhere near just a competent jump shot, that dude is already a tough cover because you can't stop him from going to the basket. But if he could develop something mid-range and then as his career goes on, extend it out to the three-point line, which I think he will eventually do, Thompson is just going to be a beast. Sengun was 9 of 23. He was, I don't want to call him a no-show, because he did had 21 points. Thompson led the Rockets with 24, but it really wasn't an impactful 21 points. He was 9 of 23 shooting. Van Vliet, as you mentioned, the Warriors got tough on him defensively. Jalen Green gave you absolutely nothing. So for the Rockets, I don't think it's back to the drawing board, but even though this current iteration of the Rockets, they don't remember because they weren't around what happened to the Rockets when they had to deal with the Warriors in the playoffs when Harden and those guys were there. But it's the same old story. Warriors beat the Rockets in the playoffs, and Steph Curry is still that dude. Steph led the Warriors 7 games. No surprise. He led them in points, right?
Yeah.
No surprise. Steph led them in assists with 40. He had 161 points, by the way. Steph also led the Warriors in total rebounds.
Isn't that crazy?
41. That is wild.
That's
wild.
It's an insane stat. The older he gets, the more I think maybe I've underrated this dude.
Really?
Yeah, I just feel like the longer he plays, the more numbers he puts up, the more I look at his individual numbers compared to some of the greats. I'm like, wow, it's him and Jordan. Like, what? Or it's him and Kareem and LeBron, and it's like 4 people have done X, Y. Like, wow, okay. Yeah. I'm always surprised, and maybe I shouldn't be at this point, but I'm all like the fact that he led this team in points, rebounds, and assists. It's crazy to me.
Yeah,
that's insane.
The fact that he led him in rebounds, and I know Steph is a good rebounding guard.
He's a very good rebounding guard.
That's just a part of his get down.
Yeah,
but the fact that he led them in rebounding.
Crazy.
Is crazy. Points and assists, that makes perfect sense. Rebounding,
it's nuts.
That's wild. That's wild.
I mean, and for a guy who's 6'2", 6'3" at best,
yeah.
Anytime he's getting, I don't know what his career average is. I think he's averaging 5 rebounds a game or something like that. But to me, that's a lot for a guy that small. I mean, how many did Kobe average? It's just it's nuts. The skill level that we probably take for granted with Stephen Curry.
Gabriel says in the chat, didn't think the Rockets, he doesn't think the Rockets thought the Warriors were going to adjust the way that they did for Game 7. Maybe they didn't, maybe they did. But here's the problem for the Rockets, before we move on to what the Warriors have in front of them going to Minnesota starting tomorrow night in Game 1. Even if they didn't know what the Warriors were going to adjust to, or they did know, the Rockets don't have a counter.
Well,
they can't shoot. Because I said this over and over again over the course of this series. The Rockets do everything you need to do on a basketball court. They defend, they rebound, they know how to control tempo, except they don't do the most important thing you need to do. And on all levels of basketball, which is put the ball in the basket. So all of a sudden, they had those 2-3 games where, Van Vliet couldn't miss. The Rockets finally started hitting free throws. They finally started converting second chance points. They finally started converting baskets, converting hoops close to the basket. But all of a sudden, when that goes, what do you do?
Yep.
What do you do?
Yep. You live off possession. You play the possession game, which is what they live off of.
Or you play we're going to muddy this game up. Yeah. And you notice the game didn't get muddied up in Game 7.
If you don't get caught up in it, you stand a really good chance of beating them. If you don't get caught up in it, you keep your cool, and you actually have the ability to shoot the ball.
Yeah.
You took Buddy Hield going crazy. But I mean, Steph taking over the fourth quarter with 14 points in the fourth. Like, all those things are And you know what else is interesting is, I just looked at this. Steve Kerr, not only was the rotation limited last night, but he went with nothing but vets.
Yeah.
Nothing but that.
Game 7, you damn well better.
He didn't bring off the bench. He brought Looney off the bench.
Yep.
And another veteran. So he started Peeled, veteran, Steph, Jimmy.
Santos got mere seconds in the
game. He was with veterans.
No, he rode his dudes. He rode Moody. He rode Looney, guys that he could trust.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
No, that's what you're supposed to do.
When you can't be messing around trying to take your chances with people in a game 7.
No, not at all. And listen, he would have run Gary Payton II out there if Gary Payton had not been sick. He absolutely would have done that. So here we go now. Western Conference semis, your Golden State Warriors going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's not going to be as much goofiness because the Timberwolves as a crew do not necessarily approach basketball games like the Rockets do. However, you do have combatants from way back, your boy Draymond Green and Rudy Gobert. They have been known to, I was going to say get friendly, but there's nothing friendly about Gobert getting choked out by Draymond Green. But it's going to be a fun series. I mean, obviously, once you get to this point in the playoffs, in the semis, you are seeing the best go up against the best. And what the Timberwolves were able to pull off against the Lakers was not an accident. And what the Warriors did over the course of 7 games against the Rockets wasn't an accident. It's going to be clearly a different series going up against Minnesota. But as far as star power, Steph, Anthony Edwards, as far as storylines, obviously, Draymond going back and forth with Rudy Gobert. And that's a good Minnesota squad. And it's going to be interesting to me to see if the Warriors do they try and run? Do they go at Gobert, which they are, and try to run him off the floor?
Yep.
Can Minnesota go small? Clearly the Warriors right now are feeling like a confident group.
Well, they should. If I'm the Warriors, I don't change a single thing facing Minnesota unless Minnesota shows that they got something for me.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Warriors beat the Timberwolves 4 out of 5 times this year. So if I'm going into this series feeling really confident, and that, by the way, that was before they got Jimmy Butler.
Yes.
So, I mean, if I'm them, I'm going in feeling very confident. I'm gonna do what we did, and then let's see what Minnesota has for us. Minnesota's been playing a lot better, obviously, towards the end of the year, but even then, Warriors still beat them.
Yeah.
So it's again, basketball is so interesting. It does come down to certain matchups.
Naz Reid is going to be a problem for the Warriors.
Always is.
Yes.
Always is. Always is. Every time they play Naz Reid, he suddenly turns into Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. They just certain, and also eats up the Warriors. This is one of the toughest Draymond Green matchups. Julius Randle gives Draymond Green fits.
Yeah.
Just some players just give other players fits. Whatever it is about Julius Randle, he gives Draymond fits. He's as strong as Draymond. So
I was just about to say that it's the size and the strength.
Yeah.
And if Julius Randle is engaged, which you would expect him to be engaged because we are now in the semifinal portion of the Western Conference playoffs, and engaged Julius Randle, pardon me, is an absolute problem for Draymond Green. I mean, that's the thing. It's you highlight it, you talk about Rudy Gobert because he is Rudy Gobert, and as I mentioned, the back and forth that he and Steph or Draymond have had over the years, but it's not just him. Does Minnesota? Do they get forced to go small? And if they do go small, do they have the firepower to match the Warriors?
Yeah.
Because the Warriors absolutely want them to do that. If they don't have to deal with Gobert, which they don't see him necessarily as a threat, but if he is out of the way, he's not protecting the rim, and if Reed is ineffective and if Randle is ineffective, that's a win for the Warriors. And now Minnesota, in my estimation, is looking for scoring. You know what you're going to get out of Anthony Edwards, but will Anthony Edwards be engaged with Jimmy Butler and occupied with Jimmy Butler? Do they kind of is he on an island with Jimmy Butler? And then where else do you get the scoring from if they have to go small?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Minnesota. They are the favorites. as they should be. But I don't know. Again, I like the matchups. I like this matchup for the Warriors. I think that what you do in the regular season in the NBA, it does translate into what you do against certain teams in the playoffs. It's without fail. It always happens.
But see, here's where I disagree with that, because you don't know who did or didn't play in those regular season games. Where was it in the schedule? What was it? The second night of a back-to-back? Was it 4 games in 5 or 6 days or something like that? I don't necessarily look at regular season records and then try to apply some of that to what could happen in the postseason. To me, it's more matchups than anything. And instead of in the regular season, it's not necessarily about matchups, because you're seeing a team and bam, they're gone or you're gone. But over the course of 6 or 7 games in the playoffs, where you know everything that they're going to do by the time you get really to game 3, maybe even by game 2, then it really becomes about the matchup. So yeah, I mean, it is a feather in the Warriors' cap that they have had regular season success without Jimmy Butler against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I just,
and it's
contextually, I'd like to know a little bit more about who played, what was the scheduling situation, and things of that nature.
Oh, I think one of those games the Warriors were shorthanded.
Okay, yeah, that's. But again, so if that's the case and they still won that game, that's great. But was that again the second of a back-to-back? And were they coming from Sacramento?
My perspective is that when you play a team that many times and you play them every year, you already are pretty familiar with them. And you play them 5 times in the regular season or 4 times in the regular season, you know who these people are. It just comes down to me is, can you continue to do it? But there's not going to be anything new between these teams. There's going to be nothing new.
No.
And so that's what it's really going to boil down to. Will Edwards rise up and become a 40-point-a-game scorer, which he can easily do? I mean, this is when. Let me
tell you something. If he averages 40 points with Jimmy Butler guarding him, then what's wrong with Jimmy Butler?
It's a wrap. The circumstances are different because the Timberwolves are well rested. Mm-hmm. The Warriors have to just play after they played last night. So these are the things that make a difference. But I think that the matchups themselves, whatever it is about the Warriors with the Timberwolves, every single year, whatever it is, the Warriors give them fits. Yeah. And I think it's going to continue. I think it continues on. I don't think I think it probably goes 7. But I think the Warriors win this one. I don't think the Warriors going to have a problem until the next round. And the next round, with whomever they play, is going to be dicey because they don't match up.
The thought is
with whom they come up next.
Yeah, it's Oklahoma City or Denver. By the way, game 1 of that contest is happening right now, 88-78 in OKC, 88-80 now with about 2 and change left to go in the third quarter. It's been interesting. You mentioned Minnesota dispatching the Lakers. Oh, and we will get to LA hoops being in the mud in just a second. But with Minnesota dispatching the Lakers last week and the Warriors having to play the Rockets in game 7. The thought is, rested Minnesota, that game 1 and game 2, obviously, with Minnesota having home court advantage in Minneapolis, that the Timberwolves should, maybe not easily, but they would have the advantage in game 1. Well, we've seen now road teams go in and steal game 1. Indiana beat Cleveland 121-112 over the past weekend, so they've stolen home court advantage. Knicks Celtics just finished, and the Celtics had a 20-point lead early in the second half. Knicks kept cutting it and cutting it and cutting it. They made it competitive. They got it to overtime, and they beat the Celtics, stole home court from the Celtics 108-105. Check this out. The Celtics, 3-point shooting team. That's how they won the title last year. All right. They're just taking and making threes. So shooting a lot of threes is a part of their get down. The Celtics took 97 shots in game 1 against the Knicks. 60 of them were threes.
Get out of here.
I'm not done. They only made 15. They were 15 for 60. The Celtics were from 3. Yo, man, it's a different game. I know Kristaps Porzingis got injured, no surprise. But even come on, man, 15 to 60,
that's
45
insane.
missed threes. That's a record, by the way.
Oh, of course it is.
If you didn't know, it's a record.
Yeah, the funny thing is that people always talked about the Warriors being a quote unquote 3-point shooting team, but really, I mean, they shoot more threes now than they did during their heyday, during the real prime years of Steph and Clay and Dre and Durant. They shoot more threes now than they did then. I mean, it was a weapon, but it wasn't what they did. It wasn't what they were all about. It was so much more of a balanced offense with the Warriors. It was all about moving the ball, turning a good shot to a great shot, getting assists. And now it's just chucking it up when you get an opening, because we have like 19 dudes who can shoot 38% from three. So let's just put it up there. I think it's insane, but that's what people do.
And Denver's cut it to 5.
Curry, by the way.
I'm sorry, say that again? I
tell people don't blame that on Steph Curry. That's not Steph Curry's fault.
The game done changed. Denver has cut it to 5, 90 to 85 as they're heading to the fourth quarter in Oklahoma City. All right. LA Hoops in the mud. Lakers lose in 5 to the Timberwolves, as we talked about. Oh, we'll get to the Clippers losing game 7 in Denver, and specifically James Harden. Well, let's start with the Lakers. You saw their problem, 2 problems. Lack of size. Lack of size. I don't want to say lack of fight, because I think that would be unfair. But I think they knew they were cooked because of their lack of size, and it just got hard for the Lakers to 100%. Put up the fight that was needed against the Minnesota team, that once they saw that they couldn't compete from a size standpoint, Anthony Edwards and that crew was just going to mash the gas on them. But I think another problem for the Lakers, you saw bad Luka. You saw bad Luka defensively. You saw bad Luka in terms of, like, there's a video that's out of Luka's early days in Dallas. He looks like a completely different player. Right, and I'm just talking about from his body size. Luka Doncic, and this it wasn't cool for Dallas to slander him on the way out the door that they opened and pushed him out of. It wasn't cool for the Mavericks to slander him, but clearly his conditioning was a problem in Dallas, and it was a problem for the Lakers, to where I don't know if it was the general manager Rob Pelinka or if it was JJ Redick. It was probably Pelinka who said that our team, and I'm paraphrasing here, needs to be in better shape, needs to be better conditioned. He said our team because he ain't stupid. You're just not going to say Luka needs to be in better shape. But he was talking to and about one guy, and that was Luka Doncic.
Of course. And it's not a shock. It's not a surprise. People have been talking about this for the last 5 years. Really, his first 2 years in the league, he was that guy. He got that American food, hit some McDonald's. Started going, oh my God, and I can still hit you for 28, 30 points a game. But injuries pile up. You get lazier on defense. Everything's easy to score. And you figure all they need me to do is score. And I've talked about this ad nauseum. We are in a league where these days, if you are the player who can only score, if that's the only thing you offer, and you don't do that all the time, you're worthless. You are worthless. And Luka, for all of his scoring, all of his offensive prowess, that's why the Mavericks are willing to give him up. I'm not going to give this guy $300 million so that he continue to be this, because we're not going to win with this dude. If he's our guy,
I wouldn't call him worthless. I would just say that he can be better, but it's on him. He has to want to take care of his body, because again, we've seen the in shape, the fit version of Luka Doncic. It was there. Now we also saw bigger Luka. You know, Luka's always been a defensive liability. It just looks worse when he is clearly not moving well, whether it's due to injury, but injury was caused by what? being too heavy, or
Yeah.
just him just being too heavy. When you see him not moving well, and you can trace a direct line from not moving well to not being in shape, that's a problem. He has to want to get better. And again, we've seen that better version of Luka. Now, again, the flip side, people go, well, that version of Luka that we saw, go out against the Timberwolves in 5, that Luka also dragged the Dallas Mavericks to the NBA Finals.
Along with, this is the smart part, they built a very good defensive team around him, and they had a great number 2 in Kyrie Irving. Really
100%. They had rim protectors back there, for sure.
Yeah. That's what it is. And so, yeah, you could do it then. I don't know, man. I don't know. I would really think twice about giving Luka $300 million. I really would. I love his offensive game, but let me ask you this, Rod. Let me put this in your court. You're the GM of the Lakers. I say Luka gets $300 million, or whatever the biggest contract of all time is going to, probably $350 million. Are you going to give it to him?
Am I going to give it to him? Yes.
As is.
Absolutely.
Luka as
yes.
is. Are you
well, no. I'm going to give it to him with the expectation of, hey, man, this has now been a couple of years. You've been injured. You clearly are not in shape. You have to get in shape. I would give it to him because I believe he is that special of a talent.
But that's and I don't. Word. The Mavericks had been saying that to Luka for the last 4 years.
Yeah, but see, here's the deal, and I understand the Mavericks' reticence to give him $300 million because of what they saw and what they knew. But I'm not going to give the Mavericks the benefit of the doubt that they are a well-run organization, because they're not. They're not. And organizations that are not well-run make cowardly decisions. And I think the way that they operated, just saying, not trying to get more for Luka just to get him out of their hair, in essence, and the way that they slandered him on the way out the door, again, that they opened and pushed him out of, I just thought that was sucker shit. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the Mavericks did the absolute right thing. But again, just from a basketball standpoint, to me, he's too talented to just go, he's fat and out of shape and he's never going to get in shape. To me, and again, it ain't my money, I think he is worth the $300 million risk, so to speak. He is that good, but he's got to be better.
Yeah, and that's my concern. At what point do you say, maybe this is the guy we have? Because after the last 4 years of them saying the same thing over and over again, and they still paid him, and he hasn't gotten better, what is his incentive to get better if he knows he's going to get the money no matter what he does?
I think his incentive to get better is, hey, man, they dropped you like a bad habit in Dallas.
He ain't care. He didn't care.
But no, I think he cared. I don't, but he's got to care enough to get in shape. I want to see what he's like after this offseason. After you get bounced in the first round in 5, the allegations are dogging you and you ain't beating them. Do you come back slimmer, or do you come back the same guy saying, well, hey man, my shit is set. I'm good. And here's another thing. If I'm LeBron, I have serious speak with Luka.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, man.
Hell yeah.
If LeBron is about that leadership life, and I believe that he is, then LeBron has to get at Luka, and it's got to be boot camp LeBron. If he's not going to listen to anybody, if he's not going to do it on his own, to me, this is where LeBron James steps in. And even though, he's closer to the end of his career than the beginning, and he doesn't necessarily owe the Lakers anything, but hey, man, do you want part of your legacy to be that you played with Luka Doncic and you didn't do what you needed to do as a leader to help him get in shape? So that's just the way I look at it. We always love it when you're active in the comments. We like it when you guys talk amongst yourselves. We also like it when you throw out stuff at us. So go ahead and do that, if you will. Quality Hangers, you have come to call yourself in the comments, and we think that is a pretty good name. James Harden in Game 7 in particular. James Harden had another James Harden disaster class in the playoffs. in a game 7. Lakers lose, or I'm sorry, the Clippers lose to the Nuggets in game 7 over the weekend. And James Harden, Marcus, once again, stunk it up in a game 7. 2 for 8. James, I don't know what's actually, I do know what's worse. I was going to say I didn't know what was worse, the 2 or the 8 in his 2 for 8 shooting, James Harden. But I do know what's worse, the 8. How do you only get up 8 shots in an elimination game? I saw this graphic earlier today, and I honestly, Marcus, thought it was made up. I thought this came from NBA Central, you know, that Twitter account that tweets out bogus stuff. But look at this. Career playoff games under 4 field goals made. KD 2, Steph 3, LeBron. James Harden has 35 career playoff games where he's made under 4 field goals.
And you know
that's
what's remarkable
hard to do.
What's remarkable about that is that James Harden has always been a volume shooter.
Right.
So if nothing else, he's going to get shots up. I don't know what it is. And you might have a theory. I don't even have a theory as to what happens to James Harden during these high leverage moments in these big games. I have no idea what it is.
We were talking earlier, and I said this to you, and I'll bring it to the air. There's 2 things I don't like to do when it comes to discussing sports, whether it's on the air in a professional situation or, you know, off the air, you know, just BSing around with the homies, whatever. I don't like to say a guy, I don't like to say an athlete or a team quit unless I know, okay? Yeah. Unless I have information from a reliable source that an athlete or a team just said, nah, I'm tapping out. I don't like to say someone or team quit, and I don't like to say that someone choked because I think it's unfair to the athlete, and also it is disrespectful to the opponent because, hey, man, your job is to go out there and beat people up. But here's the thing with James Harden in these game 7s. He ain't beaten the allegations. Career game 7 numbers for James Harden. 35% from the field, 22% from behind the 3-point line. This is someone who has averaged 30 plus in his career for the balance of his career. When James Harden gets to a game 7, for whatever reason, he goes out like Willie Lump Lump. And for those of you who don't know about Willie Lump Lump, let me just present to you a clip from the cinematic masterpiece, Menace to Society.
All little inside thing ain't that.
No, of course I got it wrong. Here we go. Do it again. Bam.
Well, I hope you wore a hat, because I know a couple of brothers that done eased up in that.
Come on now, don't even play me like that. You know I'm packing the plastic. Shit, I ain't going out like Willie Lump Lump.
If you don't pack the plastic, you definitely going out. I don't know if it's like Willie Lump Lump, but whoever that is. Who is Willie Lump Lump?
All little inside thing ain't that.
Who is Willie Lump Lump? James Harden is Willie Lump Lump.
Boy. Thank you for playing that, Rod. That's literally one of my favorite films of all time.
Cinematic classic. I told you.
One of my favorite films of all time. And the twins who directed that film, those are the dudes who got beat up by Tupac.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tupac.
Man, it's like, you know what? It's sorry as hell if you let one dude beat you and your brother up, beat you and your twin brother up. Y'all don't have like some twin powers to join together and stomp him out. You let one guy beat you and your literal twin brother up.
And these are not small dudes. Tupac was no bigger than me. Tupac was no bigger than me, and these dudes were like big boys.
No,
he lumped up both of them.
Hey, you know what that is? You know what type of performance that is from those two twins? They got beat up by Tupac. Is James Harden in Game 7. You can't go out like that. You just simply cannot go out like that.
What is it? What is his deal? What is your theory? Do you have one?
The moment, man. I mean, you can be surprised. Like I said earlier, because this is true. Who you are will come to the forefront, will be exposed when the lights are the brightest. And there's nothing bigger in the NBA than a Game 7. Okay. And as great, because James Harden's going to the Hall of Fame. one of the greatest scorers of all time.
Yes.
But we now have just mounds of anecdotal evidence that James Harden in big playoff games, particularly game 7s, it's just it's just not his thing. I mean, I don't want to say he chokes,
but
there's something in his throat.
Yeah, people have the nerve to say this dude is better than Dwayne Wade, and I'm like, what?
I mean, was he a better scorer? Yes. A better basketball player if you're just using all of, if you're just looking at it from a 10,000 foot overview, not by a long shot.
Not even close.
I mean, listen, Dwayne Wade's a winner, all right? And now Dwayne Wade's one of the greatest foul grifters of all time. I guess that's where he and James Harden, are similar, because James Harden was the best at doing that. Dwayne Wade is one of the guys who ushered that era of foul grifting and foul baiting into the NBA. But Dwayne Wade's a winner. James Harden, I think it's fair. I think it's fair to say that James Harden is not a winner, and that not be looked upon as, hey man, you just slandering this guy, you just talking mad heavy about him. Like, no man, there's just too much evidence out there that proves that James Harden is just not that dude.
I mean, the more I think about this, the more you really have to question not his physical toughness, but his mental toughness.
I
hate to say that.
I do. That's why I stay away from calling him, James Harden specifically, the choker. I will couch it by saying he's just not a winner, because the statistics prove that. To say that someone doesn't have the heart or is a choker, you have to get inside their head.
Yeah.
And obviously it's impossible for me or anyone to do that. But I can look at James Harden's playoff history, and I can look at his history in game 7 and go, when the lights are the brightest, he shrinks in the moment.
You're 100% right. I mean, I even think about a guy like Draymond Green, who, for whatever reason, game 7s, I actually think, and this is not hyperbole, the 2016 NBA Finals, Draymond could have been the Finals MVP, and I'm not even exaggerating. Look at his numbers from that game 7. He had like 35 points. He killed the Nets if he hadn't gotten kicked out.
Well, I was about to say that part of the reason, if not the reason, they didn't win that series was because he showed poor impulse control, as he continues to do.
Ain't nothing changed.
Ain't nothing changed.
Ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed. Draymond, that's your boy. Everybody had that dude. Well, dude, I can't take you nowhere, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, if you have a legitimate crew, you listen, every legitimate crew has
your old dog. Society.
Every legitimate crew has a ladies' man.
Yep.
Someone who can talk to the police. And an O-Dog.
Yep.
Someone who you just like, I don't know why I keep hanging around this.
I love you, dude.
Damn, man.
But then you always come in handy when you got some beef, like somebody.
Absolutely.
You always gonna have that dude there. I know why I got you here. Thanks, God. Because he gonna ride for you no matter what.
Yeah. I mean,
bro, I can't take you nowhere, man. I can't take you nowhere. I'm trying to have a nice time at the restaurant, dude.
Oh goodness. So let us, for the last time this basketball season, let us have a real good hearty laugh at both the Clippers and the Lakers going out like chumps in these playoffs. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh man. You know what? The Clippers almost had me this time. They almost got your boy thinking maybe, just maybe, the Clippers, and then of course they're the Clippers. And I say the same thing about the Lions and the Browns. They're going to have to actually win something,
of course,
before I say, hey, I think the Lions or the Browns, or in this case the Clippers, I think they might do something. They're actually going to have to do something before I think they're going to do something.
Bro, the Clippers have everything you need, and you look at that team and go, oh, they got it. But then, I hate to say this, they have Kawhi Leonard, but he gets balanced out by James Harden. You got the winner and you got the loser. And if you a Clipper, you know for a fact the loser's gonna win out. The loser's gonna win out.
It's in your blood.
You can't help it. You can't help it. You can have 19 Kyries, but as long as you got that one loser on the Clippers, it ain't gonna end well. They get Tyronn Lue is great coach. Great coach, but he's cursed.
Oh man, the Clippers be clippering. That's what they do.
Let me address DC. DC, yes, that is some good Tupac knowledge. I slap myself on the back for that knowledge because I love that the Hughes brothers. They directed some great movies. You ever see Dead Presidents, Rod?
Absolutely. Dead
Presidents, Menace to Society. They did the Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. I love that film. Those guys are great. They don't do much anymore, but they got a nice little catalog. So yeah, DC, we know about that Pac.
J Stamps 101 says that Draymond, or the guy we were talking about in your crew, that's always on some nonsense, but you have to have him. J Stamps 101 says that's the dude you got to tell me ahead of time if you invite him to the function. Like, hey, Jay, I just want to let you know.
That's right.
Hey man, Draymond's coming. So you know what you should do? Let's not put the brown liquor out because you know how he get when he be off that crown rug. Okay. You know how he be when he be off that gobble off that wild turkey.
By the way, don't forget O-Dog, original light-skinned gangster.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Sure. For sure.
The crew gotta have that. Gotta have a light-skinned gangster who's also good.
I mean, basically, we are talking about the Golden State Warriors from, since Steph and Draymond got there. You got your light-skinned gangster. You got Draymond, who you can't take anywhere, but he is an indispensable member of the crew.
And remember, they had Matt Barnes, complete light-skinned gangster, and apparently, according to the reports, definitely a ladies' man.
Yeah. You know what? I am going to tread lightly when it comes to talking about Matt Barnes because I have run into him a few times. And hey, man, I'm not trying to right now because
I saw Matt Barnes having like a full-on therapy session about all that stuff about 2 weeks ago. He was literally like talking about, man, I lost my family because I was being this, that, and the other. And I'm trying to change and etc. I'm like, whoa, who is what?
You know what? That's great. So I don't want to say something dumb on Quality Hang with Rod Brooks and Friends that makes Matt Barnes backslide. Okay. Because if he was willing to drive through Southern California traffic to piece up, who was the dude that was catting around with his wife? Yeah, Derek Fisher. Let me tell you something, and for our Southern California viewers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Southern California traffic is just dumb. Do you know how angry, how full of rage you have to be to get in your car and drive across Southern California in rush hour traffic to attempt to give somebody the beats? Okay. All right. We are dealing with a person who's just different. So I don't be one problems with Matt Barnes.
You getting madder as you're sitting in that LA traffic.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. You're like Michael Douglas in Falling Down. You are just simmering with rage. The Met Gala is tonight. What is the Met Gala? It's a chance for a bunch of people in New York to get together and show off outfits where they are either dressed like comic book villains or a child's imaginary friend. So, I mean, there are just so many just ridiculous outfits that are worn by these celebrities. And I think the Met Gala, as always, is sponsored by cocaine, that booger shit, the Bolivian marching powder, the devil's dandruff, if you will, because that's the only rational explanation for some of these outfits. So I thought that we would run through some of these outfits and give our expert critiques on these outfits. So here we go. What we got here? Future.
Let's see. What we look. No children with him, so I don't know what.
Well, I mean, you know what? You can only have a +1. You can't have like
not a +17.
Not a plus infinity. What do we got here? Who's Whoopi Goldberg? Looking like the imaginary friend of a child who has an overactive imagination.
Looks like she's gonna ask me if I want some peanuts. I love you, Whoopi. I love Whoopi.
Looks like Mr. Peanut.
I love Whoopi.
She's only. You know what? Only thing she's missing is a monocle. You nailed it. Until you do right by me, nothing good's gonna happen to you. Look, 7-time Formula One world driving champion, Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Look at Lewis Hamilton.
All right. Okay.
Looking like a model.
Okay. All right. We see you. What do we got here?
Right.
Oh, King Push, Pusha T. Ooh.
I'm not used to seeing him in. He got a tie, double-breasted. I mean, I'm not used to seeing him like this.
What's that? What's some sprinkles on the shoulders? Is that what I think it is?
It is that.
Push is all, he is King Push.
More things change, the more they
Pusha T. All I'm saying, clips, grinding. That's all I'm saying. All right, Push.
By the way, Clip's supposed to have a new album coming out.
No, really?
Yep.
Please, because the streets need it.
Yes,
we need.
Yes, sir.
We need Clips back in the mix. Oh my goodness. The great Stevie Wonder. Looking like a well-dressed and well-moneyed African warlord. I'm okay with that.
Can't say nothing about Stevie. Is that another one of his wives? Stevie done had a few, by the way. So.
He done had a few. I've heard the rumors about Stevie Wonder. You think Stevie Wonder really blind?
Dude, Well, Rod.
The stories are out there that
Stevie can really see.
Stevie can see.
I don't know if I've relayed the story to you about the day Stevie put a beat down on his drummer.
What?
Yeah.
Yo, how you get beat up by a blind dude? Oh, who's possibly not blind?
That's what I'm saying. You know what? I'm going to share that story with you one day. I'll have that video. One day, next time we come on, I'll share that video with you.
Man, blind dude beats me up. All I got to do is just rearrange the furniture in your house. Like I'm not going to get worked on by somebody who's visually impaired and just let that slide. Like, okay, maybe you catch me slipping, but all I got to do is move one ottoman in your crib, and your life is messed up for the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, man. I heard Steve was a gangster back in the studio. He might be singing about love and peace, but he put you in pieces.
What do we got here? Oh, my girl, Sha'Carri Richardson.
Oh yeah, look at her.
World champion 100
weave, right? That's her hair.
Huh? Well, shut up, dude. I'm not going there.
No, I'm saying that I'm like legit. That's her hair, right? That's not a weave.
You know what?
She bought it.
So it's hers. It's in her possession.
See, I didn't say that. You said that.
I did.
I did not say that.
Yeah, you got me talking all slick and greasy about my girl Sha'Carri. Come on now.
All
right, what do we got here? Oh, we got Swizz Beatz and Alicia Keys. But I want to point out something here. I'm going to look over here in the upper right corner. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick.
Colin
Kaepernick at the Met. First off, that afro, glorious.
Good.
Glorious. He is clearly still about the cause. We appreciate you, brother. Colin Kaepernick says he still want to play football.
I mean, he may not be able to wear a helmet.
You could have given me a million guesses, and the name Colin Kaepernick would have never come out of my mouth if you asked. Name one person at the Met Gala that you wouldn't expect to see at this year's Met Gala. I would have never gotten Colin Kaepernick ever.
I mean, I guess it's a good spot for him. It's kind of contradictory to his image, etc. But I guess if you want to make things happen, you go where the money is, and the money is definitely there.
If he's living the life he wants to live,
yeah,
you know what? Then I can't hate on it. But yeah, when I saw this picture of Swizz Beatz and Alicia Keys, we got to show that one because there's a Colin. I mean, listen, seeing Colin Kaepernick in the wild is like seeing Bigfoot.
Yeah,
you just don't see him. So
goodness gracious.
What do we got here? ASAP Rocky. With a smile on his face. That
you know why he got a smile on his face?
2 reasons. He just beat a charge, and he gets to sleep with Rihanna on the regular.
And they got baby number 3 coming.
Baby number 3.
I just saw pictures of Rihanna with a brand new baby coming. So I'm like, okay, then
he has quite a few good reasons to smile.
Yeah, man. I actually saw Rihanna when I was covering the Vibe Awards. I was covering the very last Vibe Awards years ago, and Rihanna was there with Chris Brown, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
And she's a big girl.
Easy.
No, I don't. No. I don't mean like I eat a lot of food big. I mean like just tall. She's tall.
Oh, okay. All right.
Tall woman. Big hands, big feet.
All right. That's enough. That's
Big
moving
head.
on. Favorite picture out of all of them. 3 stacks, Andre
what?
3000. Now let's break it down here. You will obviously immediately have your eyes drawn to the piano on his back. There's a reason for Andre 3000 going into the Met Gala with the piano on his back, and that's going to be part of the best thing I have heard today. I'll tell you about that in a second. But I want to point down here to his right hand.
Yeah.
That's just a garbage bag.
Must be nice, man. This dude is just, I mean, he's just purely himself.
That's all he is, dog.
I'm even mad. I'm going
unapologetically 3 stacks.
Yeah, man. Let me grab my little trash bag
and put a piano on my back.
Let me just go and get it in here.
Like, I don't know. This outfit is missing something. I got a piano on my back. I'm wearing a red beret. I guess this outfit is missing something. Oh, I know.
Everybody says he looks silly, Rod. Come on. Quit playing.
I mean, well, yes, of course he looks silly. He has a piano on his back and he's carrying a trash bag. Yes, he looks silly. This whole thing is silly, for God's sakes.
This would look silly on an average person. On Dre, it's just kind of par for the course. We've been seeing how this cat dressed for 30 years.
Listen, the dude was walking around Oakland just playing the flute.
Yeah.
And then what did we get? We got an album of Andre 3000.
Come on now.
Playing the flute. So the best thing that I've heard today, Marcus, is Andre 3000 is releasing an album of what? Just piano instrumentals.
Nice.
Now, I don't know if it's going to be good, but I support this because I'm a big fan. I love the brother's creativity. I love the brother's he's living his life on his terms, the way he wants to do it. I love to see anybody. I love to see a black man especially just live the life and be the person that he wants to be. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you I'm on rush, and as soon as this thing comes out, I want to hear it. But I just love the fact that Andre 3000 is being his genuine self and he's still being creative. And what I love it if he and Big Boy got together and gave us a classic Outkast album before they go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when they're inducted next year, absolutely, or later this year, absolutely. But that's just not the path that he's on. He's at the Met Gala with a piano on his back and a trash bag in his right hand. And 3 Stacks has a piano instrumental album coming out to a streaming service near you. That's the best thing I heard today.
I ain't gonna lie, because I will be listening to that album. I need to hear this. I listen to the Flute album. I'm like, okay, you know what? If I'm getting a massage or if I'm meditating, I can rock with this. So this piano thing, it might be good. The dude is, and you've heard him talk about it. He would love to be able to rap, but like he said, what am I going to talk about?
Nothing to say. And listen, I respect that because not having something to say has not stopped a lot of dudes from continuing to rap.
Facts, 100%.
What's the best thing you've heard?
Oh, the best thing I've heard today, Rod Brooks, is Alcatraz might be reopening. And I think
not. Stop it.
I think it could be amazing.
Shut up.
$300 million. It's going to be a great investment. We could. I told you before. I feel like the criminals that they put in there, if this thing ever happens, because it may not happen, but if it happens,
it might not happen. Really, you're hedging your bets. It might not happen.
But over the next 3-4 years, if this thing cracks open and we start putting criminals in there, it's going to be all kind of bets on how many people get off that thing and get back to the shore. And you know what? Good for them.
It's not going to be Arkham Asylum, dude. All right, settle down. Okay,
I'm rooting for the crooks. I need him to get out of Alcatraz. I need him to find a way back to the shores of the Bay Area and then I need them to write a book about it. All that. I need all that. Criminals are so resourceful. They think that this is going to somehow show how tough we are on crime. It ain't. There's too much technology and resourcefulness. In prison, these cats have chefs. They got internet. They got phones. For a fact somebody's going to be Googling, how do I get off Alcatraz? And they will have a plan, and they will get off. Several dudes will get off. And then it'll be a reality show, and we'll all be watching it.
Man, you tripping. It's just don't. I'm begging you, don't.
Escape to Alcatraz.
Shut up. That's enough. You know what? That's we went 5 minutes too long. See, that's what we're learning here. We're only now 6 episodes in the Quality Hang with Rod Brooks and Friends. What we're learning here in the infancy stage of our YouTube foray is that you go past an hour, it just starts to unravel. So, duly noted.
I can just see them dudes in there just, can you give me a boat?
Shut up. Shut up. That's enough. As always, Quality Hang is brought to you. Shut up. Quality Hang is brought to you by Hop Monk Taverns locations in Novato, Sonoma, and Sebastopol. Great place to get a meal. Great place to just kick back and have a quality craft brew, and a great place to catch a show. HopMonk.com to see the list of artists they will have at all 3 locations, again in Novato, Sonoma, and Sebastopol. Follow us on all the socials, and I have to get in the habit of saying this, Marcus.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Yes.
Please tell your friends, or tell somebody you don't like about Quality Hang with Rod Brooks and Friends. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to get going on Instagram and Facebook. And what's the one?
Instagram.
No, the other one.
TikTok.
Your favorite, TikTok. Yeah, we're gonna get going on all that. But every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8:00, we do it live right here. And Warriors and Minnesota, first couple 3 games are Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday. Next week, they get 2 games on Monday and Wednesday, and we will do what we did during the Warriors-Rockets series. If those games happen on a Wednesday, we will do a live post-game when the contest ends. But yeah, like and subscribe, and go to all the socials, X at Quality Hang,
right.
And we're going to keep this thing rolling. Absolutely.
Let me leave you with this. This
yes.
is from DC. He heard that there's a mandate to change Cinco de Mayo to the 5th of May.
Oh, Jesus. You're killing me. Absolutely killing me. It was a Stone Groove, brother. It was a Quality Hang per usual. Let's do it again on Wednesday. How about it?
Yes, sir.
All right, everybody. We always appreciate you. To the folks in the chat, thank you very much. And we will see you on Wednesday live at 8:00. Everybody, be good and be good at it. We'll see you.